This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing a variation of the Mothership role-playing game called Cloud Empress. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The first scenario is entitled The Star Seedling. It was written by Victor Graur, who is also our warden. The system is Mothership, but with the Cloud Empress overlay. Cloud Empress is the creation of Worlds by Watt. Mothership was created by Sean McCoy, and this is episode 1. Before we begin, I want to mention that we get most of our funding through our Patreon site. Your generous support helps to pay for our website and the club space and everything that goes into our video production. It's your support that keeps us going, and we deeply appreciate it. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Victor?
Thank you very much, Thom. We begin our story in a far distant future. Humanity finds itself to have stopped counting the days on the calendars. Is it the year 10,000? Is the year 10,100? Nobody can really tell. What we can tell is that humanity has entered a direct conflict, waged a big war onto its own home and nature. We begin with a shot of large field filled with golden grains. Everything is peaceful. We see some butterflies. We see some new pets in the sceneries, like mixtures between cats and dogs, hedgehogs and birds, and many more. The buzzing of cicadas can be heard in the distance, but this is not a normal buzz. It's far louder and it's far more threatening. Out of nowhere, a gigantic machination of war enters the golden fields. Tons of steel are crushing the nature around it as it starts navigating the landscape. On this machination that we humans still call a tank, we can see inscribed the logo of the Empire. Empire of Mankind is trying to recoup territories from a mythical creature that is still continuing to hold on to the very core of the planet, the Imago. The tank advances. It starts to charge its cannon, and almost like a poof, like a wish, the machination is being lifted up from the ground by 3 gigantic cicadas, or Imago, torn to shreds, thrown to the ground, and the bodies of the pilot, reloader, and one of the platoon commanders being viciously attacked, munched, and left in the fields. All is quiet again. Nature has finally recovered some of its land from the intruders. In this land of the hereafter, you all are residents, living your lives and trying to hope for something better. I would like each of you to introduce your characters. What do you consider that is important to your identity? And we will start with Thom.
I am Amethistos Belroth. I am a lordling of House Belroth and House Fundamental. My father is Platonino Belroth, the head of our household, but he married better. He married my mother, Zirconia Fundamental. Now, she's not very high up in the Fundamental clan. She is technically still heir to the Fundamental head of household, but she's probably 128th down the list. She was allowed to marry my father simply because she was so far down the list that it didn't really make much matter to anyone. I, myself, am 7th from the seat of House Belroth. I have 3 brothers ahead of me, Onyxos, Quartzas, and Elmirados. I also have 2 Thethers, Jadeo and Topaz, and 1 sister, Rubia. I also have 2 other sisters below me, behind me. I don't ever have any trouble with them because there's not much reason to. But I am sometimes afraid for my older brother, since he's the one with the target on his back, being the future head. I've just graduated university, and since I'm so far down the list, nobody really cares what I want to do. I'll just go and have some fun and see what I can learn. I like to hunt and crack shot. People call me one shot. And I don't know anything else about me. You'll probably learn along the way.
Wonderful. Julian.
My name is Son Dusty, and I spend most of my time scavenging around the woods and wastes looking for anything of use. Medicines, tonics, tinctures, whatever I can kind of craft and help people with their problems and ailments. I'm more at home out in the woods than I am with actual people. Don't like people very much. They ask me questions and things. I don't like to answer questions. But I do remember my teachings. I do remember my teachings. My father gave me good teaching, taught me everything I know about the magician way. And he said, your job is to help people. It's difficult some days, but I'm out here in the woods with my my elderly pup cat, Esther, and I'm just taking a break, petting him and hanging out in the woods.
Excellent. Morgan.
Yes, my name is Rose. I am a magician and herbalist of some note. My long-standing occupation as an herbalist and as a healer has gotten me the respect of my community, so much to the point where most of these days when I am not busy providing for the sick or helping our crops grow, I am one of the elected leaders of my village. I provide wise counsel. I provide the skill of my magical arts, and I try to guide my simple farming village to great prosperity.
Wonderful. Steve.
I'm Sven, a courier. People like I are the ones who chart the paths between the remaining towns, bringing love letters, goods, whatever back and forth. Um, some people mistrust me due to my appearance, but nonetheless, I have a good reputation in the towns, including Tagtown. Sometimes people call me the clown.
Excellent. Nathan.
All right. Olo is an elderly individual. He wears these as shiny of a cloak as he can find, and he is well known for setting up a sort of stall at the side of the village square and putting on tales of sword play and romance because he's difficult to shut up. He's always talking about the daring do's of moss, and uh, the children love it. He's really, that's his passion. And then once in a while, he has to actually do real work so that he can eat. And the problem is that he is getting up there in years, and the work is beginning to dry up.
Excellent. So, meeting our characters, you all are in a deep look for probably many things, but some of them are probably a peace of mind or fame, some of you. Some others might even just want to peacefully retire. But a lot happens in the hereafter, especially since the summer is quickly approaching. You know that the summer equinox is approaching quickly, and everyone starts to pretty much create a fuss. The cloud cities start to pour down from their comfort and their high places to the lowland wastes. The residents of the lowland wastes try to live a peaceful life, farm, survive in a world that has been abandoned by some more lucky than others. You will find yourselves crossing the threshold of an old tavern. This tavern was indicated to you by a specific letter. You all congregate, and to your surprise, regardless of order, you will all see each one of you holding a golden bordered letter. This golden bordered letter is this particular one.
Dear reader from afar, I hope this letter finds you in good health, willing to join in an adventure like no other, for it is filled with riches, prestige, and wealth, going steadfast to happen this very summer. You are hereby invited to the Equinox Festival of my very own design, one that is ancestral, meticulously planned and revised to get an important prize. As such, meet me where they call Tack Town, in one of its many taverns. Only one has a crown. There you should lie in wait for me to arrive. Signed, Fada, the playwright of House Stellar.
So you all congregate at a common table, and you are all holding the same exact piece of paper. And it's bizarre because while you probably were convinced by some inner desire to partake in such a weird request, you are left with more questions than answers.
Well,
I see.
I see we all have the same letter. Do you mind if I join you?
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'd all be joining each other soon enough, given our shared correspondent.
Well, I mean, may I join you at your table?
Yes, yes, of course.
We'd be more than honored to, of course. Kind of looking up and down the title. What title do you go by, sir? I'm
Oh,
afraid my cloudling is a bit outdated.
no titles here. Just my friends call me One Shot because I'm a very good shot at hunting. It only takes one shot. You get the idea?
A rare
Yeah.
lordling indeed.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to
name.
the table, One Shot. They call me Rose.
Rose, excellent. None of you are lordlings as well, so
No, I
what do
do
you
not
make of this
have
letter?
as high of a noble title. This came to me as rather much of a surprise. I was helping my community prepare for the coming harvest, and to be called away by such a, I don't know, intriguing request. I consulted with the other village elders, and they agreed that I should come. Perhaps some of this treasure could go a long way to helping my people.
Rose, what village are you from?
I come from the lands of the Golden Hills.
I've heard of that place. I've never walked there, but perhaps
It's
someday I will.
golden wheat as far as the eye can see.
To eat?
Yes, bread is very abundant where I come from. We
You are
keep-
well blessed.
We keep many fed.
And happened to bring any, did you?
Oh, yes, I did.
Wonderful. We should make feast of this if this is special bread.
Well,
Yeah, I will take out some of my sourdough bread that I've brought from home.
Ooh.
and share.
this is a tavern, is it not? Don't they feed you here? Give you things to drink?
Yes, but it would be remiss to have people sit at my table and not feed them from my home. Please,
Oh, you're very
take-
kind.
I will share a loaf of my bread.
As you are sharing some wonderful food around, one of the people from the tavern overhears Amatistos and comes in a rush to your table, and you see them kneeling down in front of Amatistos, recognizing them as a lordling, and it's like, I apologize, my good lordling. Right away, what should I bring to your table and to your companions?
Sweet beer? Would everybody like beer? Beer,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Sure. Perfect. And you see them rushing away in a hurry. It's not going to take that long of a time. This individual is pretty dexterous. They are going to carry like a Jenga tower. One beer for each of you on one plate. Bring it to your table, graciously put it down, and they seem to be refusing any kind of payment when you offer.
Oh, I didn't offer.
I see
They knew.
having a high name comes with certain benefits, I see.
I don't know. How do they treat you when you're here?
Usually they ask us to pay in advance.
True,
Oh,
true.
If you're even let in the door.
That's very true.
with
One shot if this is normal treatment for you. Please travel with me.
well, I'm a bit confused. You say you would pay in advance. You pay, you don't share everything equally, or
No.
Things down here in the lowlands are different than up in your cloud cities.
well, yes, my grandfather at one point tried to introduce kind of minted currency, but my father did away with that. It was nonsense. I'm afraid I don't have much in the way of payment. I have some bits of jewelry and so forth. I don't know how valuable they are.
I
Sure, you
wouldn't.
could buy the inn
Yes,
many times over.
I would be careful if I were you wearing all that finery out in public.
Oh,
The people in this in this tavern are quite hospitable to you, but there would be others who would see you as an easy mark. You might never wake up having your throat slit in the night.
oh my goodness. That sounds quite violent. Um, Usually I'm not used to such violence. The only violence that ever goes up in the cloud cities is when one brother wants the throne and his older brother's in the way. And that's different. That's not really considered uh, what do you call it, murder. It's just practicality.
Well, somebody's practicality might tell them that between feeding their family or you breathing, they'll make the former choice.
An odd
One
thing to.
shot. Perhaps you know of this house on the letter?
Oh, house. Was it
Stellar.
Stellar? It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
vaguely familiar. I'm not quite sure where they're from. Uh, there are a lot of major and minor houses. I'm from a minor house. We pretty much stick to ourselves. We don't have to, unless they marry us off to another house to create a bond of some sort.
Yes, I've found village politics enough to navigate. I couldn't imagine the political clockwork that
Uh,
goes on in the world you inhabit.
as they say in Satru, you know, the that old
Well said.
ditty.
Well said, my lord. Well said.
Um,
Right, yeah, well,
I'm hoping very much that my father doesn't want to use me to seal some breach. I'm not really that interested in carrying on the family line in that way, you know.
hmm. And you, sir, son, you said your name was. You
Yes.
appear to be a fellow dabbler with the chalk.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I see that we share a common trade.
Magicians.
I
How wonderful. How wonderful.
Uh, Wizardry is a terrible thing, my young lordling.
I
kind of
may
a
have many
curse.
questions for you, however. I took a course in university.
Mm.
I
Oh,
have some chalk.
Put that away. Again, do you wave such valuable things out in the open?
Oh, but you're my friends now, aren't you?
I'm not talking about us. I'm like looking around the tavern.
Ah,
If you'd like, I can hold on to it for you.
well, it doesn't weigh anything.
Okay. Okay. Just
If you,
yeah.
When Rose makes that comment, you can see everyone but Amatistos, since they are very, very engaged in this conversation. Some people have looked weary, have given kind of a side glance to the chalk sticks, and almost like followed the chalk sticks with their eyesight up and down as it showed you from the small pouch,
yes.
looking
So
towards them and try to act naturally.
I've learned a little bit about the grand uh, insects, the imago
oh,
and the instars. Uh,
Hmm.
Blessed be their
I've
flight.
indeed my my younger sister gave me this. What do you think?
it's very
Oh, I'm
pretty.
sorry. I'm showing things again.
Yes, you are. I mean, that is an exquisite ring.
Perhaps later when we're on the road or at a campfire. It sounds so interesting.
Yes, you've never seen the insects up close, have you?
I've seen a few fly by the Cloud City, but I've never been up next to one. I've been told, and you can confirm whether it's true, that those of you living down here below, um, you have your wisdom teeth removed. Is that true? Because, as they say, the magic resides in the teeth. I have my wisdom teeth. My father thought that it was mutilation to remove them, but I've
Very
heard,
few families would risk such an operation.
you know, I
And
suppose that
I
if
think we can assume that our two magician friends at least have kept theirs. It would
Yes,
be
of
very
course.
difficult without them.
It,
well, I've been told to run if the imago get
Yes,
near.
the very beating of their wings will rattle the bones.
So they can't sneak up on you.
Oh, they can. It's when they fly you can hear them best. But if one's
Yes.
trying to be sneaky, they can sneak up on you.
The
If they creep along the ground, there's something beautiful and terrible to behold all at once. It's a complicated emotion one has when they bless you with their presence.
I've heard they have faces. Is that true?
Many-eyed, full of mandibles. They look everywhere and nowhere. They can split you apart with nothing but their
Yeah.
mouths.
Well, I'll have to keep my eyes open.
And that's if you're lucky. I've heard tales that they can manipulate the fabric of reality just by their existence. You may see things, you may gather things that are not even from what we know, but that requires surviving, in which case I recommend the risk does not outweigh the reward.
Yes. The very chalk that you hold comes from their bodies.
Yes, yes, that I do know that. I've also been told that in an emergency, I can simply throw mine away and they'll go after that before they'll come after us. The amount of chalk that's in the bag. I have 4 pieces.
Or
Yes, I stamped them myself. I have a press.
Just out of the blue, the bartender comes back. Anything I can do for you, Lordling or companions? Just as you were saying the four pieces.
No, thank you.
Okay. And they are going to...
Are we supposed
Perhaps
to
a
meet?
place.
I'm sorry. Do you want something?
Yes. And they rapidly return.
May I have a loaf of bread, please?
But of course.
I'm not used to your
Yes.
customs. They are all with me.
I see. And you got the feeling that they were warm. Of course, it's business and it's a lot of publicity because you're the only lordling in this tavern.
Yes.
But even though they were pleasant, they definitely are right now almost the same towards your companions like they were towards you. And they will rapidly, in fact, they don't wait for anyone else to say anything. They will bring Sun immediately something to eat. Anything else?
Well, if food is on the offering, I'll take some food.
So the letter said that somebody was going to meet us here. I'm sure we
Presumably,
stand out.
yes. I mean, some of us definitely stand out more than others, but this letter came directly to me, so I would assume that whoever sent it would have at least some familiarity. I don't recall ever meeting such a lordling from House Stellar before. Very few of the lordlings ever come down to the Golden Hills.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm surprised as well.
Yeah, you're the first lordling I've ever had a conversation with.
I hope that you're enjoying it.
Well, I have to say, I'm a bit taken aback. Do people always treat you this nicely?
Well, I mean, I think that I'm actually quite surprised. I mean, I didn't know what to expect down here, but up there, everything is taken care of for me because I'm part of a house. But we have, servants, and we have, one another. Down here, I expected more adventure. I hope that my etiquette has proven to be effective. Things are not so easy up there. We don't have simple lives. We don't, work the ground to make food, and we don't, run taverns or things like this. I myself am a college student. I went to university. I was taken care of while I learned many things. I learned a little of magic, but I learned most. I focused on tongues. I speak a number of languages.
Yes, I mean, I know some from my village who would only give you the time of day depending on the calluses on your hands.
Oh, I have none. Huh.
Yes. That would lead
Though I
some to
do have,
accuse you of having an easy life.
I do, if you look carefully, I have a dimple here on the side of my finger from a pencil. You know what a pencil is? It's used
Quite
to
the
write.
wound, my lord.
Well, it aches sometimes after a long test.
Hmm.
I'm sure it's
Everything
nothing
I've learned from the earth.
Somebody in the tavern loudly coughs.
Could that
If you
be the fellow?
if you take a look to your side, you see a guy that just stood there. They have the definite aspect of a farmling. Um, People from the lowland wastes will definitely identify them as such. And they turn around to your table. They don't sit up or anything. And they're like, this kindness, they might offer you here. It's important, a lordling passing our threshold. But you got no business in the lowland wastes, mister.
No,
They
I don't.
find
I have no business here. I am not a merchant of any kind. I'm here for adventure.
They obviously, even from the attitude, they are hostile, but they will finish. You can interpret it as you want. Watch your step, mister. And they will return to drinking from a keg.
That was a strange encounter.
The lowlands, again, are a very dangerous place, young Belroth.
Truly.
This prepared to teach you many a harsh lesson that your schools have failed to teach you if you are not careful.
Did you not bring any ensemble protection?
People?
Yes.
It's funny you would say that, but I have mentioned that I'm 7th down the list. I just graduated university, and there was no one at my party except for a couple of friends from college. My family wasn't even present. They don't care what I do. I have no
Ever more reason to
retainers.
be careful. A lordling without retainers is a lordling who is vulnerable.
Yeah, but one shot, you travel with me. I take care of you. I teach you the way of the road.
Excellent. That's very kind of you. That's what I was hoping, that you would help guide me. I wish to learn. I am a good student.
Yeah.
Yes. I trust you completely.
Hmm. Well, it's a good thing to trust me, but be careful with others. Although these people
surely
here
not
seem
these others.
very kind and trustworthy as well. The knight with his sword and our two chalk using friends. They seem on the up and up.
I'm sure I'm in good hands.
Yes, I will watch for you. I will care for you.
So, as you're standing in the tavern and you are having a pleasant conversation, you see the patrons pretty much start to get up and leave. Some time has passed, we'll say like an hour. And there's still a couple of them besides you in the tavern, but something weird occurs. You see these individuals having very clean, straightened, almost cloudling attire. They enter the tavern. They start going around the tavern and they whisper things in the ears of those that still are there. Except for you. They say something that you can't really make out. And regardless if they finished eating or drinking, some of them scoff. They rise up and they pay for what they've eaten. They trade some. You see probably powdered chalk. You see probably some spores. You see pretty much bags and bags that would be the value of much less than you've eaten or drank, and they leave. These two individuals then, alone with you, go back to the entrance and take this red silk carpet and roll it towards your table. And the bartender immediately starts cleaning some glasses, dusts off, tries to make an impression, but not much changed. They are still very, very unclean and dusty. Through the front door, on the red carpet, enters a tall, gowned individual. She has the clothing of a lordling. She has a crest that you can't really make out, embedded in her chest top piece. And she starts walking towards you. She has a weirdly decorated urn, which is quite big, underneath her left arm. As she comes closer, you can definitely see that she has an eye that is almost implanted inside her skull. As she looks extremely disinterested towards you, the eye jots violently to each one of you.
I, of course, stand up.
Well,
I stand up. Yeah, a lady enters the room. I stand up.
She comes to your table and she almost talks to herself in this. She has a very low, guttural, and raspy voice, and she's like, "Is this them?" You hear nothing. Okay. She lifts the urn, puts it on the table, presses some of the decorations around the urn in a specific pattern, and lifts the lid, revealing a weird fog that starts to exit this urn. Suddenly, an arm, a human arm that is pale and almost translucent, jots out of the urn. It starts to gain support on the urn. It's almost like it's light as feather, this entity. And it squishes outside of the urn to reveal a weird robed figure of translucent nature.
What chockery is this?
Give me whatever you might find your character to react appropriately between fear or a reality save.
I will try to make a reality save.
Fear for me.
Ooh, 12. I passed.
Yeah, I'm not afraid.
Failed.
How do you make reality saves? What do I roll?
Okay.
So you should have.
Go ahead.
It's on your.
Yeah, you have a.
I
you
know
should
what my
have a-
number is. What do I roll?
You roll 1d100, and you want to roll below your reality save. Not tie it. You want to roll below. And double zeros counts as 0.
And doubles are criticals, the only observation.
Yeah.
I succeeded.
Wonderful. Unless you critically fail, you will add 1 stress on a failure. Otherwise, you keep your cool or you trying to explain.
Well, if Son the Dusty failed a reality save, then we'll all take a stress. Because he's a magician.
Thank you very much. That is correct.
Teacher. We all should get a stress.
Yeah, I failed that reality test, yes.
Yeah, you see Son get a little bit taken aback. Rose,
Actually, I have something else. Lordlings, fear saves made by your nearby friends are rolled at disadvantage.
Perfect. an entire wonderful dominoes start cracking down just
what-
from the reveal of probably an innocent character. Please roll
What-
with disadvantage.
How do you roll with disadvantage? You roll it twice?
You roll again and you take the worst result.
Yeah, I still got pass.
Olo definitely failed, but I mean, he was, as soon as that woman walked in with the crest, those are like, those probably put anything Amethystos is wearing to shame, like in terms of just sheer power. They're frightening.
I will give it so it was the comment of you will definitely know if you have anything like even streetwise, and one of you I know for certain does. All lordlings have crests. However, this woman's crest is of an ancient design. If you have ever seen even just photographs or even heard stories about lordlings, you know that they have a crest that represents their house. This thing has a golden border on the contour of this crest, and it has a star on it, essentially.
Mm.
This is something that, while they kept their cool, even Amethystos never seen in any lordling family. So, as you all are either taken aback or you are unsure of your environment or your perception of reality, a translucent figure is right now sitting in front of you, and they start to speak in this melodious, calm voice. And they're like, "Ah, my wonderful traveler party. It is I, Tada. I am the one playwright that have summoned you to this tavern. Very nice to meet you. And if you make the effort to raise your hand to shake it, they will do it out of politeness, but your hand passes through their hand. You feel nothing. You cannot
Yes,
touch this entity.
In the letter, you called yourself a playwright, but you seem much more of an artist with the chalk than you do with words.
Ah, a magician. I knew that I called upon the great Rose. Well, you see, my dear, I happen to be in a little bit of a trouble because, well, I cannot really interact with this environment anymore. Some people may call it an ascension, but, and they almost chuckle, I kind of lost my real body. So I cannot interact with anything physical. This is where my great main lordling, and it raises a hand towards the woman, meet please Thorn, the big sister. And this woman that is very much tangible, she just nods. And her normal eye looks straight into nothingness, while her mechanical eye looks at each one of you separate. So, continues the mysterious translucent figure, I am a designer and patron of the arts and puzzles. You have succeeded in your first puzzle of finding this very tavern. And you hear Thorn mutter, not that it was any hard. There is an entire big crown on the entire facet of this tavern. Oh, come on, Thorn. Just be more playful. She just coughs. You see, my family, the great family Stella, I want to give something back to the world. And we don't really have such a good reputation, Thorn mutters. We were the best house in the entire Hereafter. All the other houses should have bowed to us long time ago. And when she says this, her mechanical eye stops on Amathistus. Well, not now. So here is what I plan for you, a fun team building. I require you to put a play for me in action. I have the script, I have the characters. All I need you to do is to show me your inner arts and craftsmanship, or craftwomanship. You get the idea. In exchange for this small entertainment, I shall provide you with another clue for the next adventure. And they have this very weird, peppy attitude in stark contrast with Thorn. They are looking at you excited, like expecting an answer.
But Thada, we're not actors.
I've trod the boards a time or two. I'd be happy to show you some steps, my lord. It's not as difficult as they make it out. No offense, of course, Lord Theta.
Not at all. This is wonderful. A brilliant sellsword actually getting to tell their stories. This is amazing.
Would this be presented in a public venue for people to watch?
I have a public, but they're quite shy, you see. You will meet them when we go to my theater.
Why would we do this? What do we get?
A perfect question from a courier. And Thorn scolds, mere peasants in the presence of a lordling question it. And Teda continues, you see, my family, well, Thorn kind of condescendingly described it, but we are the oldest family that has ever been in the Hereafter. As such, for your efforts, should you indulge me, I have an artifact that I would like to bestow back to the people in the lowland marshes. I want to give something back, and even potentially, and Tada actually looks pleasantly at Amathistos, reignite our relationships with the other houses. Now, I know a courier such as yourself, a pragmatic individual, doesn't want just promises. So I can tell you that I am in the possession of an artifact that may be the key to unlock some secrets of the torturers. You know this if you are older, like a sellsword like Olo, or if you have studied. The torturers are the mythical residents of Earth. They have destroyed this planet and have escaped to the stars, leaving you to survive in the remnants of their destruction.
And you carry with you, or you have access to, an object of theirs. Something they left behind?
Yes, I do.
I hope you're not proposing what I think you're proposing. You've chosen somebody rather far down the line from any great house. And I have no interest in uniting myself to Thorn as a spouse. If that's what you're after, you've chosen the wrong person, at least in me.
She looks at Thorn a little bit playfully, and Thorn is like, completely agreed. Under no circumstances I am to ever indulge in such a thought. And Tada scoffs and is like, okay, yeah, Thorn probably is not the best choice, but we've got more people in our house that I would be glad to get you to meet. Perhaps you might find someone that perks up your interest.
One shot, one shot. This is what we call negotiation. Play up your strengths. Don't say no now. We go. We get these things.
I'm going to lean over to Sven with my mouth and I say, the thing is, Sven, I'm really not interested in females.
That's true for many of your type, I've heard, but it's okay.
Only if my father forces me.
For now, we play along, negotiate, get the best deal we can. I take care of you, right? So just nod and say, yes, I think about it.
I'll think about it.
Wonderful. And they are giddily waiting. So the script, would you like to see it?
Please.
We've come all this way.
She makes a motion towards Thorn that snaps her fingers, and the two guys that laid the red carpet, they bring a tower of papers. You are looking at probably 4,000, 5,000 pages. Give or take. There is no way to tell.
Very long play. An epic.
Of megalomaniac proportions, yes.
I'll pick up the first page. What language is it in?
You will definitely immediately understand it. It's in one of the most spoken in dialects. It's pretty easy to understand, but of course it's the literary version, so there are more fancier words and there are more fancier expressions.
It's something I think, I don't know, can you all read?
I can read.
It's in a fairly common language. I think you can read this, and I'll hand him a page. They're numbered at the bottom. Good, so we don't get them out of order.
Does it have a dramatis personae? How many roles are we looking at here?
Come again, sorry.
Like how many actor roles does this call for? Yeah.
Tada will answer that you are all there in need. You 5 are more than enough to enact this.
Oh my God.
Surely we're doing an excerpt, not all of this.
Well, and Tada looks around. I like creative solutions. Now, I have seen this put in play before, and I liked a lot how some other people, and Thorn immediately cuts in, You just said that they will never receive any kind of hints or anything. You are defeating your own purpose, and you are wasting my time. All right, right. Yes. There are some people that have managed to go through a lot of pages very, very fast. I don't know how, but I don't want to be told. A magician and it winks to Sun and Rose keeps their secret.
Do we have a time limit before we need to perform?
I can wait 2 days, 3 days.
To read 4,000 pages and perform it, that's a lot to ask.
I waited for so long for someone to perform this.
Well,
Amathios.
a few weeks.
Amathios.
Yes.
I believe that these pages are more of a puzzle than they are a play.
Oh, I like puzzles. All right. We'll do what we can. If you have confidence in us.
Oh, yes, I have. Thorn mutters, I don't.
Do you happen to are we to work off the one script or do we each get one?
Oh, by all means, yes, I can give you more. And Thorn reluctantly snaps her fingers, and these guys bring with some trolleys the rest of the copies of the script. Yeah, you can each have one.
And of course, you will be housing us and feeding us while we work on this, correct?
Yeah, I see no problem in that.
Thank you.
Well, then we should get to it, unless there's something else you need to tell us.
Not really. You will find where to find us, my awesomely castle in the lowland wastes, my residence of holidays, on the back of the letters. And you flip the letters. There was nothing there, but now they start to draw a map that put together your 5 pieces reveal a certain location in the woods at the periphery of the breadbasket.
How far is that of a travel from Tacktown?
I would say you would definitely know that you can make it in an 8-hour drive with the rover, much shorter if you actually take an copter or a barge. Yeah. But barges are very expensive and it's a little bit too over the top.
To travel that far, of course, you will provide us a thopter for travel, correct?
Well, you know, Thorn here doesn't let me help people with the puzzles. Okay. It's a challenge.
We'll find a way. What about lodging, folks? What do we do? Do we find a place here in Tracktown?
That's not a bad idea. I mean, we've got 4,000 pages
to read,
to go through.
Are there rooms in this inn that our host can provide and our benefactor can pay for?
I'll look over at the bartender.
Yeah, he looks and is red in the cheeks from the emotions. He's like, yes, yeah, we can find. You will have to share, I'm afraid. We have 2 rooms total. None are occupied. We have 2 rooms total.
3 in
one shot, and I.
Perhaps there's a better place in town that has rooms for all of us.
You were expecting a place to have rooms for 5 individuals? I mean,
I
the
didn't even know they
effect
had
of
rooms here.
People that are living in the lowland marshes, Rose, especially since you have made that observation, you know they will improvise something. They probably weren't offering lodging or anything either way.
yeah, this isn't nobody. Amathios, nobody here, nobody in this town have five separate rooms for anything, not their own family, not for five separate travelers. No matter where we
Oh,
go, we will be sharing. I don't know what you expected when you came down here, but
I didn't know what to expect. Well,
lodgings
that's
all to
that's
yourself
fine.
would be a rarity.
I'll lodge with Sven.
Yeah, I take care of you.
Wonderful. So you discuss about the lodging. You see, so um, Tada, they are very happy. They give a small bow to the whole group, and they have this large smile on their face um, as they are entering the urn. They make a loud, disgusting, squishy sound, even though you thought they couldn't interact with anything. And Thorn puts the lid back on the urn, lifts it, and as she is leaving, she gives you a last glance and says, "Do not be late." And she just walks out with the urn. The two people roll up the red carpet and they are like they were never here. You are alone in the town.
Do the tavern owners have a back room where we can recite and read through? Suppose we should read through it up in our rooms.
I again, my lord, I would have to
No,
think.
no, 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 no. Don't call me my lord, please.
Okay,
I'm
Amathios. I don't believe that we're being expected to perform a 4,000 page play. I feel like we are being made the playthings of a very dangerous individual. I
But the
mean, to
reward
transcend
is
to,
great.
yes, I mean, if it is true and they hold this artifact from the torturers as they say that they do, this could change the lives of so many people. If it is true, my fear is that we are going to be played around like pieces on a game board.
well, let's see what the game is then. Uh, I'll uh, I'll take a stack off the top of the play and start flipping through it to see. There are five characters. Let's see. Casilda is one. No.
I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna read the last couple of pages.
Yes, that last
Uh,
page says don't read the play.
the last page is interesting because, of course, it lacks a lot of context, but it speaks. You don't need any kind of roles for this, so your creativity essentially tells me what you're looking for. The ending of the play talks about how the torturers were m- made to leave, essentially, but they have a deep inner desire to return to the hereafter, and they are their last cooperating party, which people even suspect gossiping are even related, are the Stellar House family.
Ah, the Stellar House, they have a motive here. They're close relations to the torturers.
Hmm.
They said they were the oldest house. I'm not sure that's completely true. I've read a great deal of histories, and I've never run across their name, but in any case, they may be a very old house. I don't know. I might have to rely on you to tell us to figure out this puzzle that we're. I'm going to systematically start to look through the whole thing. I'm not going to read it, but I'm looking for clues as to what we're supposed to do with 4,000 pages of.
Well, you take a look through these pages, and we are going to say that it's already starting to get late. You see the eternal dusk in the hereafter gets even more darker, and you can definitely discover something if you are patient enough, but I'm going to say that if you want, you can give me mind roll, and you can even have an advantage since you have Tong's skill, because skills give advantages in this very system. So you roll twice and you take the best result.
I'm used to a lot of paperwork from university.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the first roll I got was a 000. So.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Okay, so that's the crit success. Okay, yeah, definitely a crit success. It's a magic square. So essentially, you start to notice the fact that if you read the first letter of each paragraph, they form another coherent idea, a very long coherent idea, but much shorter than the entire play. They essentially give you a string of text that says something along the lines of go to the castle, put up a great show, just be yourselves, and don't forget to bow down to the public after you finish the play.
See, it's the trick. The first letter of each paragraph, it spells something out. That's why there needed to be so many pages. How very interesting.
Yeah, so I feel, unfortunately, this will be the easiest of the puzzles we are given before this is over.
I think finding the tavern was, according to Thorn, the easiest of the tasks.
Well, if you have to be so particular about it, sure.
I'm sorry, I've been rude. I didn't mean to be rude.
Let us not minimize One-Shot's skill. Would you have found it so quickly? Well done, little buddy.
Perhaps we should decide what we're going to present. Stories from our lives, or what?
I would suggest, knowing what we've seen of the Lord, he seems like someone that is entertained by spectacle, perhaps. Maybe instead of just a story, feel free to embellish a bit. Really, what's the word they say? Ham it up.
He seemed jovial, so perhaps a comedy, a farce.
I do occasionally act out stories as I go to villages. Perhaps Olo and I can meet and come up with something for the rest of you.
Yes, didn't Olo say that he tells stories?
Yeah.
How are you with a sword? Sven,
Me?
of course. Yes.
No. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
And he's just kind of looking around the floor. Well, no sword play then, other than perhaps a bit of, show-offery then.
I have a knife.
It does not translate quite so well on the stage.
Oh. Almost cut my hand off.
Well, the
So
good news is for those of us that still have a 4,000-page epic here, uh, these should be quite useful for selling to the townspeople, so to speak.
Mm.
Yes, indeed. They can use them to start their fires.
Indeed, what I was thinking. My restroom breaks will be much more pleasant now.
Oh, dear
so
God, you're saying they don't have toilet paper down here.
We have 3 shells.
with this small, wonderful victory, Amatistos, you can decrease your stress by 1 because a critical success effectively grants something like
okay.
this.
So I'm back to 0.
Now, the dusk, you have successfully completed it today. You know all that has been discussed, but it's kind of getting dark. Obviously, the bartender isn't telling you to leave if you just want to stay around, but they will excuse themselves like, Lordling companions, I must leave to rest. But if there is anything that I can do, you can find me in my room upstairs. And you kind of get the idea that they were going to sleep here if you wanted both the rooms upstairs.
What, don't we want both the rooms upstairs?
Then by all means, they are yours. And they take a rest on a small thatch mattress on the floor behind the
Let-
barkeep.
Let us take our leave and go to our rooms.
Yes. Well, hopefully the beds will be big enough to house 3 of us at least in one room.
Does
I'll,
anyone have access to transportation?
I have feet.
I'm afraid I had the same modality of transportation as Sun here.
As do I.
As do I. Perhaps we can barter for transport tomorrow.
If it's
Very
only,
good.
a day away, then we should be able to get some pack squabs and load them up and go. It should be a fairly pleasant trip.
I've
Well,
never.
it's an 8-hour drive. It's how many hours by foot?
Oof.
By foot, it's quite far. I will say
Plus, we'd be extremely
14,
tired.
14-hour a walk.
Yeah.
In my
Ah,
younger days.
we'll worry about that tomorrow. It's been quite an exciting day.
So you retire to the rooms above. The bartender, you see them talk with a small child. You don't see the mother around. They talk in whispers, but they are not angry whispers. They are like probably something akin to, okay, just move some of the thatch from this part, from that part. Just take the dirty dishes from there. They pretty much improvise for you to take these both rooms. While they are trying to make an effort to be as comfortable as possible, you will not be able to rest peacefully in such conditions. So you will not decrease stress by resting here. Even though they are making an active effort, it's a clean yet peasantly house, to say the least.
Yeah. And I feel that we have put them out of there. We should do something nice for them tomorrow. Well,
Any of your
come.
jewelry would more than pay for this trip, or
Oh,
even
I'll leave something then. Uh,
that said, I might stay downstairs for the night and keep an eye on the front door. I'm not quite sure I trust all the people in the town to be quite so accommodating.
you're very wise.
And you, Sven, you seem some malignity has touched you.
Yeah, yeah, I've been cursed, as you see.
Oh, that's very interesting. I,
I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
I'm unfortunately not a dealer in curses. If I could cure you, I would.
does
I've,
that mean that you have faced death?
yeah, yeah. It's a challenging story. But yes, I faced death and my appearance is such.
I think I could
Well,
cut those off, file them down.
No, no, no. Thank you, my friend. I've tried things like that, and the curse it's strong.
Ah,
they're quite handsome, actually.
Many do not think that, but thank you, one shot.
Come, let's to bed. We have a lot to do tomorrow and a long journey.
Yeah.
Go to the bed, sleep as comfortably as you possibly can, and you hear a um, squirrel cockatier screaming its lungs out, waking you all up at something like 6 in the morning. Um, Nobody gets to ask or check on you, especially. But you can, when you wake up, hear activity underneath in the tavern. You start to hear people coming in. Um, some of them sound like they are bartering and just doing business. Um, People don't really have time to drink in the morning because it's not healthy for your professional life. You're also a little bit exhausted. Uh, Sleeping on patches of hay is not really that comfortable.
Do I know of anyone that we might be able to barter with to get a rover or some other form of transportation?
I would say yes, but you know, as a courier, they won't give you outright. They will rent it, and some people are so paranoid that they will want to drive you there. They don't want to give you an entire vehicle, even just a rover.
Well, they could drive us there. That will make it
Certainly.
easier on us.
Yeah. You, let's say, fast forwarding a little bit, you go down. You are being, of course, welcomed by the bartender. It asks you how it was. It has that look on their face. They know you didn't had a good time sleeping, but just out of politeness. And
I'll give them a piece of jewelry and tell them that I will highly recommend their tavern.
That's too much one shot. Too much.
they
Uh,
bow down and they touch your feet with the tip of their fingers.
No,
Uh, they are amazed. You definitely can return here, and probably they will even develop another room with that much amount of pay.
and call it one shot.
Sometimes it's wise to overpay and reap the benefits long term.
Other times, it is simply evidence that one does not know what they are doing, Olo.
you
Perhaps.
live, you learn,
Time will tell.
as they say.
Usually, it's best to do the learning while you're still alive. Some lessons you can only learn once and permanently.
You'll have to teach me more about this deceitful danger. I don't understand. But as fine to transport, and as they say, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You will find probably, so to understand and to put some emphasis, we'll say that you don't really find exactly at the tavern, but you return a little bit to the center of the tech town. Despite being named a town, this is actually the biggest trading hub and city of the Hereafter. Here, merchants of all kinds meet up, they trade. You hear a lot of squawking, a lot of people. Some of them are gambling, some of them are paying their debts to some lordlings, some of them are essentially exchanging goods. And there are all kinds of people here. You even see many people that Rose and Sun will immediately understand they have been cursed. Not much special treatment towards them. They are just people passing through the town. They want to do some business, and some even have some pity on them, considering if the gravity of the curse. You manage to find, I will say, without that much of an effort, somebody that will take, they formulate it as the equivalent of something uncommon. You tell me what you would be willing to give, and I'm going to say that out of some goodwill or karma, you already overpaid your visit, so this individual will not try to trick you or anything. If you give them too much, they will be like, okay, this is for, I don't know, going you to the rust bucket, not just to the destination.
Well, I've been told to keep my mouth shut by Sven, who says that I'm giving too much. Apparently we'll run out of what we need before we get there. So
Yeah.
I have things. I have bits of jewelry. I have certain things I will not part with.
Does anyone else have anything to put into the pot?
Right?
Depends on if your friend there likes a good story or a ribald joke.
I have. Hmm, I have a bottle of olive oil.
I have some bread.
Yeah,
I think we need
I
the
would say,
food.
they will definitely accept food. They are actually, you find this individual that is a little bit scrawny, but you get the feeling that they are hardworking and they're weathered down, like a real life hardworking farmer. They look much older. If you ask them their age, they are like 30, but they're looking like they're in their late 60s from the elements. They are very reliable, and you get the feeling confidently that a bottle of oil and the bread will buy you enough to travel to your destination.
Okay.
Very well.
Thank you, my friends.
He nods. He will take you there. One of the party, because one chef is better than too many cooks, as they say, should keep track of these resources as a little recommendation. We can do this after the game or something, but you need to understand what do you have. You trade, they are honest, they pick you up, they will drive towards the destination. Someone give me, just let me look. Give me please one. Give me a 1d10.
Just somebody roll it.
Just somebody. This is not a check. This is essentially to see
9.
9. Okay. So as you are approaching your destination, there is a small thundering and storm clouds gathering around in the distance. Asking this guy if it's safe, they will be like, they will have to take a stop at the surroundings of your destinations. He will leave later. But he warns you that you should not leave this destination very, very soon because they suspect something called a sleep storm might be brewing and approaching. Those that either are old of age or are magicians know that these storms bend reality. So they pretty much completely make the environment untravelable unless you want a one-way trip to, not to certain death, probably to things worse than death, essentially.
You could end up 1,000 miles away. Yes,
That would be
should.
a fortunate outcome.
And the
I've heard
courier knows
tales-
that.
Yes. Heard tales of people, the too many heads, too few. It's it can jumble you like a puzzle.
It's an interesting fact that most of them are fairly low to the ground, more like fog than most of the cloud cities are well above the area where they occur. But oof,
The wonderful skies have the color similar to this, but they stop suddenly and abruptly, almost like a painter stroked the ceiling and stopped suddenly and then took their brush, shoved it into black paint, and started to pretty much ruin the picture with the black paint.
yes, it's temperature is changing as well. Let's get under cover or wherever we're going to go.
Yes, that doesn't look good.
So to make it streamlined, you go to this somewhat isolated village. You won't need to look for your destination because while all housing is like one floor, there is a massive castle, a palace in the middle, smack down in the middle of this village. And to make it even more obvious, it has a huge star emblazoned on the architecture, essentially. You go there, you are welcomed by some of the servants. They know who you are. There is no need for any persuasion or price. The guy that drove you there does not follow you. You see them stopping long ago at one of the inns or at a family, essentially, because inn is a little bit too much. You don't get the feeling that you have been followed or tracked under any kind of ways, and you enter the palace. As you get accommodated, this is much better than an improvised shelter. It's quite luxurious, and you each have a room. You have some possibilities to store your items, and you even see that you have locks that you can put on the chests. These chests are weird in the sense that they give you more security, but they are made of a weird white milkish substance. It's definitely not chalk. It's definitely not plasticsteel. It's something else, and it's very smooth to the touch. It's almost like you could sculpt a muscle out of marble, and it bends, allowing it to close and open.
Most unusual.
And you either store or not. Just keep in mind, if you store them, obviously they are not on your person. And you walk. What exactly do you want to do, each one of you? Do you want to immediately contact Thorn and Tada, or do you want to explore? Because people don't seem to really pay much attention to you. They are like another everyday occurrence to them. The servants,
I would like to.
the
I would like to
caretakers.
explore.
Yeah, one shot. Are you familiar with places like this? You can be
Well,
tour guide for us.
Quite honestly, it's nothing like a cloud palace. All of this is stone and rock. You know what happens when you put a stone or a rock on a cloud? It just falls through. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there must be certain things that you'll find. Somewhere there should be a kitchen. Somewhere
Oh,
there should
good.
be a dining room. Somewhere there should be perhaps a presentation area with a dais. But we'll have to wander about. Everybody builds these differently, I suppose. Maybe there's a garden. The windows are interesting.
Mentioning a kitchen, you most definitely find the royal kitchen of the house, and you meet the local royal chef, Sholo, Scholo. They are friendly, but they are very formal. They are not much of a long talk compared to other chefs that would want to showcase their trade. They are currently constantly working. So as you're talking to them, you see them have some fresh ingredients, which is definitely something that will probably shock, but it doesn't call for a save, some of the travelers. But they also scrounge up and they also scavenge a little bit of things. Some of the components don't look very appetizing, but this individual turns it into a work of art. So they look good in the end. But you get the feeling that they are eating, obviously, what they can hunt around the property, which essentially are mole rats, small birds, and some deer pigs.
So I will, of course, treat them like servants because they're servants in the castle. But I will also, the only thing I want to ask then is when's dinner, and what time, or you said do we even have clocks in this world? I don't know, but we kind of know from the position.
You do. But you have to be careful because as you're traveling, time, even without a sleep storm, kind of accelerates and decelerates considering of your location.
So
But
how long until?
Sholo will be like, sire, you can expect a warm meal each day at 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 8 in the afternoon.
Oh.
So 3 meals a day. Right now, and he stops for a moment just to look at a device that kind of resembles a watch, but it has a broken glass. It's approximately let's say if you started at that quick math, it's something like, it's nearly lunch. It's nearly 3 o'clock. It's 2:40.
And is there a bell you ring when it's ready for us to come?
Yes,
All right. Thank you.
not
I
a
probably
problem.
don't say thank you, but I.
They will not expect. They immediately get back to work after just pausing to look for
Right.
the time.
They don't want to talk to me. I intimidate them, I'm sure.
While Amatistos is at the kitchen, what are the rest of you doing or looking for?
I'm with him.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm so wary of our gracious hosts and this whole game of theirs. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm prowling around to see if something feels amiss to me.
There are many. No, uh, almost said something that shouldn't be there. You turn on a corridor, and the palace feels welcoming, but you have a distinct feeling, especially when passing some of the grandiose pictures of some of the members long past of the family, that you're being watched. Some
Yeah,
of
this
them,
is
go ahead.
if I could talk to Sun, um, what did you make of that display of magic from the other night?
I found it interesting. I don't know exactly what to think about it. I didn't see any chalk that I
Yes,
remember.
it's quite impressive, whatever it was, that urn that preserves the spirit but not the body. The capacity that these people have is very great. And I mean, if I could bring back even just a drop of that to my community, I would be praised till the end of my days, but I don't know. They seem highly dangerous, these people.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Uh, I mean, we're not even entirely sure what their motivations are. I mean, we could accidentally open some door to something that we can't close.
Mhm. Yes, the object of their little game that they can't seem to do themselves. I mean, didn't you, if I heard them correctly, we're not the first people that they've roped into this. I mean, the
I
one in
heard that.
the one in the
Yes.
jar said that um, helping the others with the puzzles, but who were these others and why did they not succeed and are they still alive? These are questions that are weighing heavily on me. I had half a mind last night to go turn around and walk right back to my village, but I don't know if I could let such an opportunity slip by, if it is an opportunity.
It's very difficult to say if this is an opportunity or a curse. I suppose we'll just have to play along a little further to see what this may turn into.
Olo, you join the others, or are you trying to find something other than the
Olo
other?
was actually sharing the magician's feelings about this, but he's very practical in these things, so he's actually looking for essentially the garbage dump of the castle, knowing that that would be a bit out of sight, but he wouldn't hate talking to someone, but he just kind of wants to look through of what are they getting rid of? Like, are they living here? Yeah.
The palace is almost like a hoarder's wet dream. There are some rooms where nobody stops you, at least not personnel, from entering. but they are filled to the brim with furniture, with all kind of. You even see some of these vases, like the one that Tada inhabits, and some of them are cracked. Some of them have their lids removed, nothing inside. But the whole house seems to be overburdened. And in fact, you find a room that will have many, many objects. If you look inside of it, give me, please, still getting accustomed to this.
Really hope it's gonna be a mind check.
No,
Damn.
give me a 1d100 without being a stat.
32.
32. You find some old, a little bit eaten by some termites, wooden crutches.
That's interesting. It looks like they've occupied this spot for quite a while. Is that the right impression?
Um,
I guess they're the oldest family. They'd probably have
yeah,
things.
they definitely. So you, when you touch them, it's not something like a feeling or. In fact, it's not something paranormal. It's more like you have a gut feeling, like you touch something very personal of somebody that is long gone. And it has that sensation like some people have when they buy jewelry or something that was very, very close to somebody else and they just buy it from the flea market. And they're like, I kind of can sense the presence of the last owner in them. Even though these are not ornate, they are wooden, rotten, but somebody used them to move around for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, he'll kind of, feel them, get the heft, but he'll just set them off to the side where he can find them again later. And then, return to the others.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You return to the others. Let's say you congregate at the at a long table to eat. Sholo is a servant, but they don't have an ego, but they are more of a professional servant. So even with Amatistos and Sven, he will usher you out of the kitchen, essentially. As time approaches for the food, if you are still there, he's like, okay, sir, lordling, and courier, please wait for me and the staff at the table. And he ushers you to the main dining room. You all take seats and you see that at the table sitting is another woman, but she seems very old and frail. And there are a series of chairs that are empty, and through the doors start pouring in multiple people, young people, men, women, and non-binary folk. They are young, but they have something peculiar in the sense that they are pale, gaunt, and very thin. They don't look you up and down, and they don't kind of want to intimidate, but you are a little bit unnerved. They take a seat without presenting themselves. They acknowledge you and they nod like, bon appetit, but they don't present themselves. They are definitely nobles because they have crests with this star embedded in their dress. Finally appears Thorn with the urn, and she releases Tada, which obviously doesn't eat, but she stays at the table almost symbolically with you.
Well, I wait for the important people to eat before I begin to eat, following proper etiquette.
Yeah.
And are these people, these young people, are they completely corporeal, or
from what you can see, yes.
Okay, so they're not ghosts.
But they have a certain coldness from their mannerisms, more it can better be said. Yeah.
I'll lean over to Sven and say, well, some lordlings never leave their palaces, so their skin becomes quite pale.
Mm,
You
yeah.
need to get out into the sunlight for your skin to turn darker. You can see mine's quite pale, but it's getting darker.
If you stay with me, you will get plenty of sunlight. How's the grub?
It's quite is good, or is it weird?
Yeah, no, it tastes good. It tastes fine. Like they made the best with the ingredients they have.
Yeah.
I like traveling with you, one shot. This is good. 3 meals.
Hearing this, you hear a loud cough from across the table, and Thorn says, "You will have to earn them. So you better eat now, because you will have to perform for our Majesty, Tada."
Yeah. The puzzle.
I think we got it.
She returns to eat. As she's eating, her metallic eye still follows you specifically. I mean, the party. It doesn't land any time on Tada or on the other guests at the table. So you have a nice meal, you finish up, and you are invited by Tada into room afterwards. It's a nice, almost vintage room, something that you have read before the entire war, before the entire fall of humanity. It has old, treated and cared for wood. It has tapestry. You even identify things that you think might be of cultures from before humanity has fallen. Their names are lost to time. But you can probably think that if they would still exist, the entire former Earth is here. Europe, Africa, stuff that you've heard about, America.
Like a museum.
It's like a museum. And there, she points towards Thorn, which will snap her fingers because Tada can't. And lights suddenly turn on. You see a stage, and there are chairs for the people staying in the audience. You timidly or awkwardly, because you get a very eerie feeling. You get on the stage, and just before you are able to perform, you turn around and you see tada with Thorn. But all the other rows are filled with paintings being propped up in the chairs and all staring at you.
I'm going to lean close to Sun and say, like, those were the paintings we felt like were watching us earlier.
Do you don't think they've trapped people in those paintings, have they?
I mean, with that urn, who knows what they're capable of? Who knows what this artifact from the torturers actually does?
I don't know.
And with that, you hear clapping, like obnoxious, intentionally obnoxious clapping from Thorn. Go on, perform. And we will end here for tonight.
Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Nathan Decker, Steve Anderson, Julian Arba, and myself, with Victor Graur as our game warden. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you would like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the strange and terrifying Mothership and Cloud Empress role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.